Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2021 film The Suicide Squad, a film that is written and directed by James Gunn, and it stars Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, John Cena, Joel Kinnaman, Michael Rooker, Viola Davis, Nathan Fillion, Jai Courtney, Pete Davidson, Sean Gunn. Oh, goodness me. And it goes on and on and on. Basically, it's got a lot of people in you might recognise. And this film is the sequel or soft reboot or reimagining of Suicide Squad. Now, the film that came out several years ago went down basically like a lead balloon. I have reviewed it on the channel. It was one of the earliest reviews I ever did on the channel. I thought it was certainly watchable, but very disappointing, the first Suicide Squad film. And this time round, we've got James Gunn at the helm. Yes. Who is, for me, really, really talented. A really talented writer-director. And most people know him from things like Guardians of the Galaxy, but I loved him when he was doing Slither and Super. You know, he's a great, great creative person. And what do we get this time? Well, very similar concept to the first one. There's a threat in the world taking place. We have got Amanda Waller trying to put a team together once again by recruiting super criminals to a suicide mission. And they are tasked with going to this remote island and trying to destroy all things associated with something called Project Starfish. And the film starts off basically with you see a Suicide Squad team get decimated, which I thought was a really fun way to start the film, which essentially turns out to be a decoy. And then we are also shown snippets in flashbacks of how key members of the squad are recruited, like Idris Elba's character, Bloodsport, Peacemaker, and some of the others. And then they have to go to this island and kick plenty of ass. What are my thoughts on the Suicide Squad? Well, I have to say this film was so much better than the first one that we got. And the reason why, well, we've got James Gunn at the helm, I think, is the main reason why. He understood this property, he understood the franchise, he understood what this film needed, he understood what the first film needed, and that was lots of fun, lots of humour, and lots of violence. And that, for me, was my biggest issue with the first film. It was tamed down, and it was meek and mild, whereas this one is big and brutal. It doesn't hold back on the violence. It is way over the top. It's hugely enjoyable, and I'm really glad that the film embraced that part here, because these guys are supervillains at the end of the day. They don't do things by halves. They don't care about collateral damage for the most part. And heads are going to roll, and in this film, heads do roll quite a lot. I think what I liked here as well is the chemistry between the team. It was just so great. You've got Idris Elba leading the team. You've got John Cena's Peacemaker, who, you know, I mean, they've all got a moral compass that is really off course, but some of them more than others. You know, Margot Robbie is clearly still having fun with the character of Harley Quinn, and this character has clearly had some ups and downs. It's been poorly written in the past, and I think they nail it again here. I mean, to be fair, in all the films that I've seen Harley Quinn in, played by Margot Robbie, she's been the brightest spark in all those films. And the biggest compliment I can pay her and this film is that she's no longer the brightest spark, even though she's great. They've managed to share it out amongst the rest of the cast, and they are all really enjoyable, they're all really watchable, and they're all a lot of fun. And many times watching this film I laughed out loud. It was very, very funny, very, very amusing. But also at the same time, I was hugely entertained by it. It's a really over-the-top, fun-filled action film with loads of violence, loads of explosions, loads of, you know, tight situations that they need to get out of, all this kind of stuff. And they do it with such great charisma and chemistry. And James Gunn knows how to have fun with the film, and he knows how to let the audience in on the joke and let us have fun with it too. And I think that is one of his biggest strengths, and that is the biggest takeaway I've got from this film: the fact that, yeah, I'm not meant to take it seriously. I mean, for goodness sake, at the end of the film, they're fighting a giant starfish, for God's sake. You can't take it seriously. And you've got Sylvester Stallone voicing a shark, for goodness sake. And that is, again, one of the highlights of the film. Just how they managed to blend all these characters. And there's far more characters in this than the first one. And some of them you wished were in it a little bit more. But I love the way they introduced us to this film, introduced us to some of these characters that you're thinking, oh, Nathan Fillion is this guy, the Detector or something like that. And Michael Rooker as Savant, and you're thinking, oh, yeah, this is going to be pretty cool. And then they give you the opening that they give you, and you're kind of like, oh, all right then. It was almost like, Deadpool 2, the X Squad, that sort of thing. And I really, really enjoyed our introduction to these characters and our reintroduction to other characters. I thought it was a really smart move by James Gunn. I really enjoyed Peter Capaldi as well. Was he a thinker or something like that? You could argue that some of the antagonists were fairly weak. They were kind of just like cannon fodder for the Suicide Squad. But when they get to the big smackdown at the end of the film, there's only one real antagonist, and they all have to refocus on that, if you like. I've got to say, I was really, really impressed with this film. I think it was one of the most entertaining films I've seen this year, and one of the most entertaining DC films I've seen for quite a while. Check this one out, guys. If you were really disappointed with the first Suicide Squad, I don't think you'll be certainly disappointed with this one. It's a strong 9 out of 10 for me. Really enjoyed my time with this one. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.